Dean Thomas strikes again. So I have made a video previously about Dean Thomas making stupid statements and comments about Khamzat Chimaev about his title run, claiming that he shouldn't have title run and he's not a deserving candidate for title because he was not regular, despite he was one of the top name, one not one of the, he's the most known and famous fighter right now in the UFC. So we talked about that in that video. Now, recent few days back, Dean Thomas made another statement about Ankalaev, who is right now the middleweight champion and light middleweight champion, and he defeated Poatan, and they will fight again in next month probably, and they will and Ankalaev will defend his title shot. So, what is the comment Dean Thomas made? Some brother, some MMA fighter of Bangladesh, and he also fights in USA. He tagged me in a post that I saw where Ankalaev was saying that UFC should trade Ankalaev, the champion, one of the most interesting champion of UFC, with some no-name female MMA fighter PFL has, and he is saying that fighter, female fighter, no name female fighter will bring more value to UFC rather than Ankalaev because no one knows Ankalaev. Okay, so I was baffled when I saw that image, and I was looking for is there any context behind it? Was there any context when he said some of those stuffs? Because sometimes we see lots of photo caption and lots of YouTube shorts and clips, and those are taken out of context. So I wanted to know, was there any context? Was he talking about something and he made this comment and it was taken out of context? So I searched and I found a 1.3 hours long podcast where Dean Thomas talks with another two stupids. I don't know who are they, and they were talking like they were some very good analyst of MMA, but I didn't heard or know any. They were not MMA fighter, and I didn't know any one of them. So they were. It was very hard to watch because all three of them are complete stupids, and in terms of MMA they don't have any knowledge. They were speaking racist stuff, unfunny statements, and they were laughing at each other's unfunny jokes. So it was very tough to watch. So I searched, I just looked for where he made the comment, and I watched that. I watched some of the 5 minutes before the video and 5 minutes after the video. So he was basically talking about MMA, and suddenly he made this statement about Ankalaev, saying that Ankalaev shouldn't be in UFC and UFC should trade him for Russian fighter that fights in PFL, a female Russian fighter that fights in PFL. And Ankalaev is someone who deserves to be in PFL, and he is not the caliber of fighter who should be in UFC. So let's just sink it in. I don't know if you guys ever saw the UFC run of Ankalaev, and let's Google Ankalaev's UFC run and see what are the fighters he fought and his resume. He is by far one of the most interesting fighter in UFC right now, and He is one of the most interesting fighter that division ever saw. I think after John Jones, I'll put Ankalaev. And he is more interesting than Poatan. I'll I'll tell you why. Poatan, we all knew. If Poatan ever fought any good wrestler who also is a very good striker, he will defeat him because his wrestling is not that good. He only fought good strikers, and he did have a decent takedown defense skill, but he wouldn't survive with a very good wrestler. However, Ankalaev defeated him standing up. Ankalaev defeated Alex Pereira in striking. Ankalaev defeated Alex Pereira in wrestling. Ankalaev dismantled Alex Pereira, and he is so confident that he gave Alex Pereira another chance to fight him because that division is so dead. There are no interesting fighter left for Ankalaev to fight except for Alex Pereira, and there are no fighter in that division that has the capability to defeat Ankalaev right now except for if John Jones decided to return. I don't think if John Jones return, he will fight in middle light heavyweight division. He will fight in heavyweight right now. So even if he returns, I do think Ankalaev has a very good chance of defeating John Jones as well. And Ankalaev is a very interesting fighter, and he is a very active fighter. He fights regularly. He never rejected any fight. He never pulled out of any fight. He fought everyone and anyone whenever he was given the chance to fight. He fought everyone. He's a very active fighter. And this stupid Dean Thomas, who is a no-name nobody, he's a bootlegger of UFC. What is his background, by the way? Who is Dean Thomas? Dean Thomas is a friend of Matt Serra, and Matt Serra is a good friend of Dana White. So I first knew about Dean Thomas when they were doing a reality show looking for a fight. They used to publish it in UFC, and where in that show the both three of them, Matt Serra, Dana White, and Dean Thomas, went to different cities in the USA. They looked for fighters, and they visited um, they visited local fight promotions, and they watched their fight, and if they liked anyone, if they liked the style of any fighters on those local fights, they would have given them contract. So this was a 30-minute reality show. They were used to go to different cities. They used to visit those cities, show us different culture of those cities, and yeah, that was the show. And on those shows, Matt Serra was probably the most interesting character than Dana White, and I never liked Dean Thomas. He didn't do anything except for just being there. His statements are always like this. He used to make these same stupid statements, and I will say what are the reason behind it. There are some motivation behind him making this type of statements. Listen, he will never say the same type of stuff about Alex Pereira. When Alex started his journey, no one knew about Alex Pereira either. Alex Pereira still can't speak English, like Ankalaev. He also can't speak English, and Alex Pereira was a very new fighter, like everyone, any other fighters. And people say Alex Pereira is have a very good personality, and he is a very funny guy. He can't speak English. He has the same type of personality as Ankalaev, but everyone likes Alex Pereira. Dean Thomas said that Alex Pereira is an interesting fighter and he deserves title shot. But according to Dean Thomas, Khamzat don't deserve title shot. And the justification of Ankalaev for not having the title justification Dean Thomas gave for Ankalaev not to have in UFC, and he is not he does not deserve UFC, is that Ankalaev is not that famous. Guess what? Khamzat is famous. Khamzat is one of the most famous UFC fighter right now. He and everyone knows about him. European fighter, anywhere in the world, if you go, if you ask, do you know some UFC fighters? Some people will say that, yeah, I know. And the name of Khamzat will come up. He is that famous. And Dean Thomas said what about Khamzat? He said that Khamzat do not deserve title shot because he is not regular. He is not regular. He has a history of pulling out from fights, never gave the context why he was irregular, by the way. Hamzat, when he started, he was very regular. He fought back to back within 1 month after having his debut. He fought again just within 1 month, and he fought continuously after that until COVID. The whole world shut down, and COVID happened, and Hamzat got COVID. He was sick from COVID and he was very sick. He was in the verge of death. And he then actually announced his retirement because the level of sick he was. He was coughing up blood at the time. So it was not in his control, and he didn't pull out because he wanted to. He didn't have any choice. That's why he couldn't compete at the time. After that, what happened? After COVID stopped, then Ukraine war started. When Ukraine war started, the relationship with Russia and USA became worse, and Kamzat didn't get any chance to visit USA at the time, and he didn't get the visa. And he told this multiple times. However, whenever UFC arrange fight in Abu Dhabi or in Middle East, he fought on those cards. Whenever he was given the chance, he fought on those cards, and doing this, he actually got the title shot, became the deserving candidate for title shot, and now he proved that he is the champion. Dean Thomas rejected and did not consider any of this. Thomas didn't consider the fame of Khamzat when he talked about Khamzat, but he's thinking of the fame of Ankalaev right now. See the hypocrisy? And what he said about Imanov. This is more interesting. He said about Imanov is that Imanov, by the way, is one of the most active guy in the UFC roster. He fights like every 6 months. He has a good run. He defeated many good names. He defeated fighters like Israel, and he is the deserving candidate for the title right now. But and what Dean Thomas said about Imanov? Dean Thomas said Imanov do not deserve title shot because it is hard for him to pronounce his name. And his justification was, if some name of the champion is hard for people to pronounce, then he won't be a good champion. He won't be a likable champion. That's his justification. You can find those statement that he made on YouTube. And this is not new. He has been saying this for a long time. I found a video on YouTube where he was talking to DC Daniel Cormier, and he made the same racist statements when he talked with DC, and DC confronted him. When DC confronted him, he began to say, like, whatever it is, I don't care. The truth is, Kamzat is not regular. Kamzat misses fight. Kamzat pulls out. He is not consistent, and he didn't consider any of the issues. The issues Kamzat had with his sickness, with not getting his visa. All of those issues that were not in control of Kamzat. But he decided to pick those things because it is easier for him to demonize Kamzat and make people believe that he doesn't deserve a title shot. So all of these incidents, and he said some racist stuff about Islam Makachev as well. See, it is not against Russian, by the way. He wanted to have a women Russian fighters exchanging Ankalaev. It is targeted towards the Muslim fighters. He doesn't like Muslim fighters, and all of the incident I have shown you. He picks. Um, he doesn't pick the same thing for everyone. He picks stuffs that they don't have any control of. Ankalaev is a interesting fighter. Ankalaev is a good active fighter. Ankalaev is a very good, very interesting fighter, by the way. He can strike. He can wrestle. One thing we hear about Dagestani fighters is that Dagestani fighters wrestles a lot, and they are very dominant in wrestling. So when they fight with other fighters, fighters from West or fighters from other country, they make the fight so boring, so one-sided, and they are so dominant, the fight becomes very boring. So within the 1 or 2 minutes in the fight, we know who's going to win, and we know there is no chance the other guy is going to win. So the followers or the supporters and the fan of the other guy will definitely feel bored and won't like to watch those fights. We understand that, but Ankalaev is not like that. Ankalaev strikes. He has one of the most interesting striking skills that we have in UFC right now. He's light on his feet. He has good boxing. He has good kicks, and he mixes all the thing up. He's a perfect mixed martial artist. But Dean Thomas picked him. Dean Thomas criticized him because why? Because he's not famous. People do not know him. People know him. Any fan of UFC, any fan that watch UFC, follows UFC, knows Ankalaev very well. Maybe some cultural fans do not know him, and we don't want people all. It is not necessary for everyone to become famous, be famous. We have Kamzat, who is very famous, but Dean Thomas do not like him because he is not active or regular. Despite those issues are gone. Now Kamzat has his USC visa. Kamzat is not sick, and he is champion. Despite that, Dean Thomas have some issue with Kamzat. Dean Thomas have some issue with Imanov because it's hard to pronounce his name. Despite Imanov has an active fighting record, he's a good fighter, interesting record, and a deserving championship candidate. Dean Thomas's issue is with Muslim fighters. So I have proved it. It is not about anything else. He just don't like Muslim fighters. He is a complete racist. People say black people can't be racist. I don't agree with that. There were some house Negroes back in the day when slavery was still going on in USA, and we know about them. House Negroes were more racist than their masters. They didn't like the Negroes who were working in the field, and because they wanted to become loyal to their masters. They were seeking loyalty so much. They were um, thirsty of loyalty of their masters, white masters, so much that they used to beat other black slaves. They used to punish other black slaves. And whenever any black slaves planned to escape or anything, if they heard it, they used to go tell their masters about it. Master, you know that guy, he's planning to escape, he's planning to do that. And Dean Thomas is a house negro. He wants to please his masters, and that is why he is so he always antagonizes Muslim fighters, and he doesn't like Muslim fighters, and this is why he keeps making these kind of statements. I want to say, UFC authority, if you want to take UFC as a credible organization, you should fire people like Dean Thomas. You shouldn't consider Dean Thomas, you shouldn't call Dean Thomas to any podcast, any discussion about mixed martial art, because his statements, his views, the opinion he shares are racist, Islamophobic, and complete disgust, completely disgusting. That's it. I don't want to say anything else.